Meanwhile, Mexico is trying to fight an international battle to make sure that the distribution of vaccines becomes, I was gonna say equitable, but really just a little bit more equitable because it is anything but. Now, we've been talking about this for some time. There are entire regions of the world that have had no doses of vaccine. I believe when we last talked about Africa, there was one country that had gotten 15, and that was about it for an entire region of the world where hundreds and hundreds of millions of people live. Well, now, Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard told reporters yesterday that the Mexican delegation of the United Nations will file a complaint at the UN Security Council tomorrow concerning the inequality and inequity that he says impede vaccine access. Right now, Mexico has only managed to administer about 750,000 vaccine doses, although they've signed purchase agreements for the eventual delivery of more than 230 million doses. There's this program COVAX designed to increase the equitable access to the COVID vaccine internationally. They haven't begun distributing things, although they do plan, they announced plans earlier this month to distribute more than 35 million doses of vaccine across the region by the end of the second quarter, which still at that point, an entire region of the world would be way lagging behind countries like the UK, Israel, the US, other parts of Europe as well. So look, if this starts an international conversation about this, I get that people are feeling very insular and xenophobic. They feel like if they can get access to it, that's what's important. But there are a lot of people suffering in a lot of different parts of the world. And simply because the US has more money does not necessarily mean that they should get access to basically every dose in this hemisphere before anything goes south of the southern US border.
Sounds like the way we've always done things, honestly. It's why you tout the money and the power and the influence that we'd have is because how much have we thought about other countries, especially other countries that aren't like direct, what we see as direct allies, like, we get reports about, what's happening in Italy? There's an outbreak in London. Oh my God, look what's happening in France. Look what's happening in Spain, things like that. And so that will coincide with the way that we approach even getting beyond it, potentially something with this vaccine helping out. Why would we concern ourselves with these countries we haven't concerned ourselves with before? What is it they're going through? I don't know, it doesn't affect me. Let's put a travel ban on them or something so they can stay away from us. And then when we see destruction and devastation in other countries, then what we say is, man, look what's going on over there. They should get their act together.
Yeah, totally. And by the way, it should be obvious, but we're not safe until we're all safe. International trade still relies on not having pandemics spreading, in all across the world. And not to mention the fact that if you leave entire regions of the world to wait 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years to get the vaccines, that is a breeding ground, not just for more COVID, as bad as that would be, but to spring forth the sorts of variants that have come internationally into the US recently that our vaccines won't necessarily protect against, or not at the same level that they protect against the original kind of COVID-19. So that should also be a consideration, that the faster we can get everyone vaccinated, the less of a breeding ground we have for dangerous, more transmissible variants of COVID to continue to flow around the world and inevitably into the US as well.
There's only a certain number of things that moats and walls can block you from, and this is one of those things that it can't.
Exactly. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.